Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hi there, I'm Katie WI7YL here for Ham Radioactive. Here for Ham Radio Outlet. I'm so excited about being radioactive here in my shack that I'm all out of whack this morning. I hope everybody's had a good week so far and have been playing on the radio, doing some experiments. There's been all kinds of activity happening. I know I've been hearing from a lot of people all over. If you're here in the chat room, please do say hello. Here's our first one. Hi, Virgil. Welcome. If you're here on YouTube, because we're fairly new to streaming here on YouTube, please do drop a line and say hello. Let us know your call sign and where you're watching from. And of course, please do hit that subscribe button down there and join our Ham Radio Outlet YouTube family. Oh, good morning, Kenneth. Nice to see you as well. Appreciate you always being here and being supportive. And we were going to have let's see. Oh, and my husband says, hello from upstairs. Hello, honey. Well, we're having a little bit of a change to the schedule this morning. Kevin's and Johnny from Bioenno Power was going to be joining us today. And we have been working behind the scenes here for quite a while. And it just can't seem to get the computer systems on in his office to like our streaming software. So unfortunately, we'll just bring Kevin back another day. Maybe next week we'll do another twofer. And just waiting for our other guest of the day, Ray Novak, N9JA from Icom America, to join in. And I see he just popped into the waiting room. So I'll bring Ray on here in just a moment. Well, it's been very exciting. Let's see. My mom came in from the garden to watch, and my friend Brad is here. Hi, Brad. Let's see. Brad from North Carolinas. Yay. And my friend Jeanette. I've been looking at Google Translate to make sure I can pronounce your name correctly. And here we go. And Kathy out in Illinois. Jose, one of our regulars, is joining us this morning. Hello, Jose. Let's see if I can grab everybody. Joe is here and Leon is here. Terrific. Well, it's so great to have everyone join us. Oh, and Michael, one of our regulars, NARS. And of course, couldn't be Friday Shack Chat without Greg and Judy joining us. Well, great to have everyone here. We have been plugging away here on our field day planning. You know, if you watched last week's show when I had a surprise guest of Josh Nash, KI6NAZ from the Ham Radio Crash Course decided to join me. We are kicking off my series of chats all about field day. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of difficulty and some changes this year because of COVID-19. Although, if you just saw the ARRL's website, there have been a couple of temporary rule changes for field day, and particularly now the Delta stations can work each other and earn points. So if you're going to be operating from home, and where in the past you wouldn't work another Delta station, now you can. And there was an additional one related to clubs. So if you have clubs that are working from different club members working from different locations, you can all submit your club log together. I know, for example, we do that with the Grand Mesa Contesting Club. We'll operate up here. We're members and we'll operate from here up in Wyoming, but we submit our log to the contesting as GMCC. So let's see. Don is great. Hi, Don is here. Great to see you too, Don. Nate's joining us today from Milwaukee. Hi, Nate. And Tommy is here. And let's see who else we got. Rick and Kirk. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Kyle's here. I got a great call this week from my friend on Facebook, Alita. Whiskey Alpha 7 Alpha Lima. She is the daughter of W7XP. Tom, one of our regular local club member or local members that operates field day with us. She and her husband Mike are going to come up from Utah and do field day with us. So yay for that. So I'm excited. There's going to be a whopping 7 of us so far, but we decided we needed to upgrade some of our equipment. And I'm not talking ham radio equipment. I'm talking about a tent. We bought a bigger tent because the one we have was just way too small and we camp out. So, you know, sometimes you end up doing some extracurricular things that you don't necessarily plan to when it comes to field day planning. Now, I'm going to grab Ray here. Let me grab Ray. You ready to come in here, Ray? Get ready. Here we go. Ta-da! And there he is.
Wow.
Hello, Ray Novak.
This works a lot better than
from Icom America.
This works a lot better than the link that you sent to me.
Yeah, apparently. Sorry about that. Oh, you know what? The other link was our test link. So when we were testing this out yesterday, so Ray's got to point out when I goof up. So here's some friends from Mexico saying hello. Now, remind everybody, Ray, where is your home QTH?
I'm located just south of Dallas, Texas.
Okay. So how far are you from the Plano HRO?
Depends on traffic. I mean, in Texas, you really don't talk about miles. You talk about hours.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
to go from one end of the state to the other, you could drive 10 hours and still be in Texas.
Oh,
But
good. That sounds
to
like
get from my
Wyoming.
house to the Plano store really depends on traffic, anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Oh, that's not too bad. So easy enough to make a trip over there. And look at this. We've got Kyle joining us. KI5JCL just got his call sign this week. So yay, congratulations on your new hamness, Kyle. Welcome to the fun of ham radio.
Well, he should have fun in Mississippi for field day if he does it. And I might end up being in Mississippi as well with George and Tommy from Amateur Logic TV.
Right. Oh, that'd be cool. And seeing Bob's in here. So I know, Ray and I have known each other for pretty much as long as I've been in the industry, which is less than Ray, but how long have you been in the ham radio industry? Something like, 87 years now?
Something like that. Yeah, close to 30 years now. I started with MFJ, spent 6 years with them, and then on my 26th year with Icom right now.
Wow, 26 years. That's amazing. That's great. Well, they're lucky to have you. And I know the ham radio community is always happy to see you at events. And everybody's really bummed, of course, that we didn't get to all meet up at Hamvention this year. And but thankfully for things like Zoom and the Zoom meetings and Skypes and everything else going on, people still have the opportunity to visit with each other, whether it's club meetings or just doing shows like this. And we sure do appreciate you being here with us today. Now, I know since you've been a ham for a long time, I thought it'd be kind of fun to obviously talk to you about the various Icom products that you have that are perfect for field day, but you're a ham, you're an active ham. So people, of course, want to hear about the products, but I think we also like to know what kind of things do you like to do with field day? And maybe you have some stories and experiences that you could share that might be kind of fun. So let me move that. And I know you have some photos to share too. So I'm looking forward to those as well.
Well, actually, I started doing a PowerPoint presentation and things got so hectic the last 2 days, I was unable to complete it. But what we're going to talk about is the various field day events that I've done over the years. And it gets to be, while it's fun to travel around and participate in these different ones, late at night when you're calling CQ, you have no idea how it is. And when your brain just takes over and you've got the fog and you start shouting out old field day call signs.
Oh, I don't think I've done that before.
So let's see. I've had N7OS from 2004, where we actually won the 4 Alpha out of Western Washington.
Oh, neat.
Whiskey 4 India Yankee with the Woodbridge Wireless Association. N1FD out of Nashua, New Hampshire. A couple of them down here in Texas. I can't remember those. I've got the t-shirts. We usually, when we go to one of these field day events, we would create special t-shirts. We started doing some generic ones.
Oh, okay. That's neat.
The one that I'm wearing right now is our Icom QRP crew. I'm hoping to have a 705 to do field day with.
That would be
some other toys. Probably my most favorite one was Whiskey 3 Atlantic Ocean.
Oh my gosh. Anybody who does field day or knows that call sign for sure. Whiskey 3 America Ocean. You hear that one. And and usually they seem to be like 26 Alpha or something.
Yeah, the year that I was with them, we were a 24 Alpha.
Oh my gosh.
We set a field day record that year. And if you want to see the information about the field day event itself, or no, a 25 Alpha, Ham Nation did an interview. Bob Heil did an interview with Rolanders and Frank Donovan. And the event is pretty phenomenal. And I'm going to see if I can share this. I only got 3 pages done for the slideshow, so I apologize for that.
That's all right.
Time got completely away from me.
Understandable. Well, it's not like you know, even though you're working from home these days, just like, you know, many other folks, you're still super busy with work. And, you know, I know this is the elephant in the room. And since you did bring up the 705, before we dive into photos, do you have any news about the 705 for the inquiring minds that want to know?
Well, right now, and it's been very interesting to see the information that has flowed out to everybody. Icom made 2 announcements about the 705, one being the delay because of COVID-19. And that was on both the global site as well as the JA site.
Right.
But for the announcement on the release of the 705, they made the availability announcement only on the JA site.
Right.
Thinking, okay, just the Japanese domestic market, this announcement's only for you. But quite a few people ran with the translation thinking, okay, it's globally released.
Right.
So right now, Icom will be shipping the 705 to Japanese customers. So it's just the Japanese domestic market, or the JDM model.
Okay.
We're looking for certification, in-country certifications, and I say that because we've got people from all over the world watching this. I see Robin in the chat room.
Yep.
So it's really going to depend on the length of time with the process. Nothing's normal anymore.
Right.
So like for us, FCC would be 4 to 6 weeks. Fingers crossed that it would only be 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm looking at July, August timeframe for the radio.
Right.
But beyond that, we have no official timeline.
That's what I thought. And I wanted to, and I was hoping that I could have you kind of officially clear that up because, you know, again, seeing the news pop out that it was released in Japan, but again, people don't necessarily read the entire story, or like you said, someone might have taken it off to, you know, expand on it when it wasn't actually true. So I wanted to make sure that you, as the Icom representative, made sure that it was clear to everyone that we're here in the States are still waiting for the FCC certification. And then after that is when it finally makes it to the market. Right.
And that is, and one of the videos said typically or traditionally, usually it's the next month after, but we don't know what this process is going to look like right now.
Right. So is the FCC actually, is that department even like working right now, or have they been, do you know if they're not doing their normal workload as well, I would assume. So that kind of just continues to push everything
guy,
else.
And I'm not an FCC guy, and I don't play one on TV, so I can't.
All right. Okay. Hey, this is kind of fun. Virgil just said I was his first Wyoming QSO on FD4. Yeah, last week, not after Shack Chat, after my workday was done, but I got on my Icom 7600 and played FD4 for the first time, and that was kind of fun.
Well, we do have the upgrade of the 7610.
Yeah, I know. You remind my husband every time you run into him at a ham fest. I always say to my husband, I'm like, stay away from Ray because he's trying to sell you another radio.
You always got to try to sell.
But
there are the times to have fun. Last weekend was a great time. I got on FT8 with my 7610.
Yeah.
Because I'm in an HOA, I've just got a long wire that I got strung up in the backyard. And I sent out about 200 to 250 QSL cards on Monday.
Wow.
So, and I actually, there was one ham that posted on Facebook that his first QSL card he's ever received was for me. So that
neat.
Actually, that was one of those moments to just, yay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super cool. Oh, Robin's rubbing it in that he's got the 7610. and a 9700 and a 7300. So we know that G1 MHU is a big Icom fan. So you've got some photos from some of your field days of the past you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Okay.
See how this works.
All right. I shared some last week, which included one with me in the middle of the night, like hunkered down over my radios because apparently I was actually getting some poisoning from the generator that wasn't functioning properly. It wasn't just that I was tired, but middle of the we were having a fun kind of talking about the middle of the night when you're operating. Oh, here we go. Let me add there we go. And I'm gonna, let's see, I guess I can't. All right. If that's okay for you, or if you'd like, I can have it go full screen and they don't have to look at us.
Well, that's fine. That way I can get a drink of water while doing the presentation here.
That's perfect. That's what I was just doing.
I had great vision to do this. I think Wednesday you confirmed that I'd be on the show. So, and this is end of the month for us. So it gets to be kind of hectic here.
Well, again, I really appreciate that you are taking the time to join us on Shack Chat here. So, okay.
So
go ahead.
I was going to show field day photos from 2004, 2005, when us as a company, the hams, I mean, I would say 95% of Icom America are licensed operators. And we used to have real nice field day events that we would gather around, get together. But I'm also a member of the Micro Hams, which is the Microsoft employee group. And we've got a pact that they don't complain about the design of my radios. I don't complain about the design of their software. So we have a great time together.
Oh, and the Micro Hams are the guys up in Washington State, right?
That is correct. And they just recently had their Micro Hams digital conference. So they're very active and a fun group to participate with. If you've ever watched the TV show Big Bang Theory, you get an idea of how a lot of the conversations go. We've identified who each of the characters, and actually I get classified as Penny's ex-boyfriend. That is about as bright as a stack of bricks.
That's funny. Greg is, I'm just going to pop this up here. Greg is one of our employees in the Milwaukee store. So apparently he's just picked up his own 7300, and Greg recently upgraded his license. Just, I think maybe earlier this year or late last year. And so he's obviously said he's enjoying using his new radio. So thanks for that, Greg.
Well, of all of our presentation materials, this by far is my favorite screen created, which is like from the Little Rascals time period of the clubhouse.
Right. I was thinking,
but as I mentioned,
no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, it reminds me of darn it, now I forgot the name of the baseball movie with the kids. And they had their clubhouse.
Sandlot.
Yeah, Sandlot.
Well, the field day event that I had mentioned was in 2004. We actually shot video at that field day event, as well as a couple other locations, one being in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And if you search YouTube for Icom Radio News, we actually put together 5 episodes of that video podcast well before you, and think about it, 2004, it was before YouTube was around.
Right.
The quality that's on YouTube really doesn't do it justice, but it was a very fun piece that we did, showing at that time, I think the 7800 was new. We ran 4 7800s as a 4 alpha.
Wow.
And some of your buddies, N6MZ,
right?
Mike Miraz, he was there doing 80 and 160. I mean, we had a huge blast with that field day event.
Well,
but that was our first real competitive event that where we wanted to do something a little bit more than one year. We built an 80-meter rhombic. So there was more time wasted on setting that thing up. If you want to turn the camera back on, this needed to exist at that time. an antenna analyzer so we could see what was going on with the antenna. I think we spent a total of 14 hours over 2 days trying to get that 80-meter rhombic. And then once we got it where it would tune, middle of Sunday, 80 meters isn't active at that point.
Right.
Yeah, Josh, it was a huge spool of wire by the end of field day.
Oh my gosh.
And there
that's
was
the
no
last thing you
alcohol
want to do is
consumed in doing that either.
And the last thing you want to do on Sunday when it's over is have to deal with all of that.
So in 2004, we did the field day event from the top of a Microsoft parking garage.
Oh.
And that was the first time I'd really seen how to do a competitive field day event, because we had the team was filled with project managers. So each station had a project manager to make sure everything was working. We had a fire marshal on the team. One floor down was where all the generators were, so we didn't have that asphyxiation that you had,
Right.
Katie.
Yeah.
So it was unbelievable. And then after one of the contest universities, I ran into Frank Donovan and just asked
W3LPL.
Yes, ma'am. W3LPL. Asked him, why don't you ever use Icom radios? And he goes, I've never had the chance to sit down at one. And I go, well, field day is coming up. I usually take Icom radios because I'm allergic to all the other brands.
Right.
And I'll let you play with any of them that you want. So while it was a 25 alpha, we had 277, 27700s, 27800s, 27600s, and a 910H for satellite.
Wow.
So as I said, that one was by far my most fun field day event. And the reason why I say it is these guys, they do it at a completely different level. So as we look at the photos, upper right-hand corner here, you're looking at 2 rotors. This was for the VHF tent.
Okay.
So you can see the antennas on the opposite corner. You've got 6 meters on the bottom. And I think we had 2 2-meter Yagis, a 432, 1296. What the 2 rotors allowed you to do was to independently turn one of the 2-meter and 6-meter antennas independently of the other 2-meter 432, 1296 antenna.
Wow. That's mind-boggling.
So that took a lot of engineering to do that. Then you see in the middle upper, that's the satellite guy, making sure everything is perfectly level when the ASL rotors say we're flat.
Right. Jeez.
For 25 alpha, and to do it in 1,000 feet, you had to have a lot of towers, a lot of, well, the way we did it was with a lot of towers, Yagis on 10 meters all the way to 40 meters, and then dipoles on 80 and 160.
Wow.
So in the lower left-hand corner, that's everybody's got to do a evening photo of the Yagi in the air.
Of course.
Frank Donovan. I mean, Frank was working real hard. All of these were monoband antennas. I'm not 100% positive, but I believe they might be the OWA type designs.
Okay.
Lower right-hand corner is one of the generators. So they made sure that they were housed, easy to move around. I mean, these guys had everything planned out. And just like the Microhams group, there were project managers that handled every aspect of what the generators, stations, everything would do.
Wow.
And then our buddy Bob shows up. I mean, he's a huge fan of one of my competitors, so he threw the Icom banner over the back of his trailer that he had. But what's so phenomenal about Bob plays with big RF. He's a studio engineer for used to be for PBS, I believe.
Oh,
So he's used to big 100 kilowatt type stations. In the back of that trailer is a 2 kW amplifier running off of a generator.
oh my goodness.
That the name is a Quadra, but he has modified it and changed it. And you can tell by the size of the screwdriver antenna that thing's designed for healthy RF.
Right. I don't know about you guys that are watching this, but I'm just kind of like, we attempted a 6 alpha one year, and that was just way too much for us to handle. And I'm just thinking the logistics and what happened. I mean, talk about a huge team effort. Is this a large club that puts this all together, that, under Frank's tutelage, if you will?
Well, the co-leaders for this was Frank and Raul Anders. Okay. But each of the project I'm going to use the term project managers, but each one had their own job. There would be one guy that would show up at a certain time. As soon as we could go, he was already laying out the GPS coordinates. He was marking where the guys would go for the towers. And I'll go to the next page that will show the towers.
Right.
So we were using right here an 577 Alpha Bravo crank up military tower, and it has 4 sets of guys for the body, and then from that you've got guys as you crank it up. So the antenna layout, it's the same way every year. Each one of these, click the wrong button. Each one of the blue dots is a tower. So you can see they've got quite a few of these. Then between the towers here, they would have a guy wire, well, not a guy wire, but a wire going between the two. Then they would stretch the 160 meter dipole in between.
Jeez. Wow.
And you can see they've got them spaced out 100 feet apart.
Yeah.
And then the 80 meter. And you can see we were running three modes per band. And on some of them, you got like 20 meter digital, 20 meter sideband, 20 meter CW, and then the GOTA was a multi-band.
Wow. Now
the way they position these is the 20 meter where the Yagis would be, they would be in the null of each other.
Okay.
So the Yagi would be pointed west, and the side lobes would be the null of each other. The same for the 15, the 10, and 40 meters. So we would use our bandpass filters to keep the harmonics, but in band, we saw very little interference because of the position of these towers. So there was a lot of engineering that was involved in setting these up.
Right.
And the towers were 50 feet tall.
Geez. And so obviously this is the same location that they go to regularly if they've got it all mapped out and know where to go. So is this, you said, I think you told me when we were getting all set up, this is at a middle school or park near?
Yeah, it's at a middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was going over the photos with you on Wednesday, you saw the play equipment in the background.
Oh, that's right. Okay. That was Wednesday. That was 2 days ago. I don't remember what I had for breakfast. Never mind what we talked about 2 days ago,
But the funny thing about it and what surprised them is I had at that time one of these 577 Alpha Bravos, and I was familiar how it works. So I ended up becoming a member of the crew that would take the antennas mounted on the mast and then would elevate them in the air.
Oh, cool.
So
well,
it
so
was
they put
fun.
you to work. So they put you to work too. You didn't get to just show up and operate. You had to help get everything up and running.
And that's why these two these two field days were my most favorite, because N1FD N1FD and Whiskey for India Yankee those two events, we had the Funmobile. So all the radios were already mounted in the vehicle. All they did was connect coax to it. So none of the other stuff I got to participate in.
Oh, Greg says the IC-7000, a radio that left us before too soon. I think that's what we have in our pickup truck.
Katie, I didn't show the tent in this slideshow. This is the last slide I have.
Okay.
But the VHF guys were very spoiled. Not only did they have where they could turn the antennas independently, they had an air conditioning unit.
Oh, that's an air conditioning unit?
Yeah, that's
you're
an
talking about that little spot over there.
The trailers.
Oh my gosh.
That's you could go in there and have icicles hanging inside their tent. Now, I don't know if they still do it. Actually, you could see all of this as well as more on the Ham Nation video.
Okay.
With Whiskey 3 Alpha Oscar.
Yeah. So Matt's a part of the N9JA, says he's still wondering to find out if his field day is still on. So, hey, here's our friend Ricardo from Deers.
Yeah. Well, this year we were supposed to be in 2 different locations for field day. My buddy Scott from the Microhams was going to be at N1FD.
Okay.
And then Will was going to be with the Yoda group that was going to be at the Voice of America Bethany. And I would have been over in Germany for Friedrichshafen.
Oh, right. That's right. So obviously everybody's plans are a little bit out of whack with what's been happening in the world. So, well, I'm sure that so wherever you end up for field day, which is still to be determined, it sounds like no matter where you go, you get to bring along some gear and hang out with friends that and make new friends and get on the air and operate. Is that your favorite part of field day? Like to actually just sit down at the radio and play?
I like to be able to get on the radio at any time. I prefer contesting, and I'm enjoying the digital modes because you don't really have people that can look up the call sign, see what I do for a living, and then immediately, hey, I got a question for you.
Right.
And I've actually had it happen on the air, and I've told them, well, it depends on your question. You might kill the band.
Right.
And then they'll go, well, I got a question. The last time it happened, I was on D-Star, and the guy goes, I got a question. My buddy says you have the 9700 coming out. When is that going to be available? And at that point, I couldn't get on the radio.
Right.
And somebody else was listening to the reflector that we were on, and he goes, N9JA, are you still there? And the guy goes back, yeah, he's probably still there, but as he said, you might kill the band. So,
well, it is a challenge when you work in the industry and you also get to operate and have fun. So it's, I try to, for me, for example, I get emails during the day. Hey, a lot of times it's from DX. Can you help me out with an FT8 20 meter QSO? And, my standard reply is, well, I'm working during the day. Just because I'm at home doesn't mean I can just run downstairs and get on the radio as much as I would like to, unless it's a really good DXpedition. Then I might sneak in and do that. But otherwise, yeah, sometimes it is a little more difficult to get on and just, be a regular ham. And I think that's where field day comes in really handy, and especially if you're operating with a club that's not your call sign. So you can, I guess, be anonymous, for a lack of a better word on it.
Oh yeah, you can using another call sign or in a contest. You're just going as quickly as you can.
Right. It's a lot of fun. So I know for a couple of years ago, we had Emmett and Rochelle from Radio Waves came out here to do field day in Wyoming with us. And they brought along the Icom 7300. And of course, I've seen it at many shows and in our stores. And, we know that thousands of people have this radio and love it. But I thought, it might be kind of helpful if you could talk a little bit about why the 7300 and maybe the 9700 are ideal radios for field day, from, how easy they are to take out and, take out with you. They're lightweight and easily programmed, et cetera, et cetera. But obviously, the radio far better than I do. And I thought,
but you did an excellent job of explaining all of that.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess we're done for today. No,
no, I mean, for field day, it really is what you want to do and what type of radio that you want.
Mm-hmm.
I know when we do the Oshkosh Air Show, which unfortunately is not going to happen this year,
Right.
I bring out a 9700, a 7300, 7610, and a 7851.
Wow.
And I mentioned earlier that we did the N7OS field day event as a 4 alpha using 4 7800s.
Okay.
The reason why we did that is the 7800 or the newer radios, the 7851, you can back down to 150 watts because
Okay.
that's the maximum allotted power that you can use. So you could set your audio just right so you don't have the high peaks on the papas and the tangos, and just watch it and stay at 150 watts. So it depends on what kind of setup you have. Most guys will go, oh my God, no, there's no way that we're going to do it. And when we had people coming by and seeing what we were doing on Microsoft's campus, the hams would go, why do you have those? It's supposed to rain tonight. Well, it always is supposed to rain tonight in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
But we wanted that extra power, and it did well for us that year. I'm actually going to go to swing to the other side of the spectrum. I'm probably going to take a 7300 because it is easy to pack. And I'm going to take a 705 if I can get one of the Japanese production models to do some testing and video with.
Right. So when you take your 7300 with you, do you have, what else do you need to take with you? So for somebody who's maybe going to experience their first field day, or even for somebody who's done it a little bit before and is thinking about getting their 7300, or is maybe recently acquired a 7300, it looks like you're about to demonstrate there. What do you got?
Well, I did a park on the air during one of my trips to Mississippi. I've got family that lives there. I grew up there in my early years, and I had a buddy pole and a 7300 and got in the IARU contest. I ended up doing it QRP because I did not think about what kind of connectors I needed.
Oh, okay.
And in my RV, I had, well, the 7300 has a SO239.
Okay.
The buddy pole was a BNC. And all I had was a PL259 to SMA to BNC.
Okay.
I tried transmitting 100 watts through that SMA, not thinking about it, and I started smelling something kind of weird.
I was going to say, did you start to get that lovely smell of smoke?
And I reached around the back of the radio and I felt how hot that SMA antenna, that adapter was. But, I mean, you can go with something very small and compact.
Okay.
This is a QRP buddy pole antenna that they're working on for the 705.
Okay.
Another one for the 705 because, I mean, I'm with the QRP group right here, which we made these shirts for Josh.
Right.
I have a QRP mag loop in here.
Oh, wow.
That's there again, cool. Small antenna.
Yeah.
A couple of other antennas that I've got are, one is a alpha antenna, FMJ. I think that's just it, the FMJ. So that is a multi-band vertical. I've also got a crank IR that I'm going to take and play around with and experiment.
Right.
Use the analyzer to check the antenna. I mean, that's where the fun's going to be this year. Because we're going to have to practice social distancing.
Sorry about that. We seem to have bonked out for. Oh, there he is.
Katie, is this on your end or my end?
I think it's both of our ends. I'm totally not taking the entire blame. Greg, Greg brings up a he'd give me a power source, an antenna, tuner, the radio. 7,300 food and friends during a normal year. That's all you need for a good field day. I agree. And,
well, it's going to be interesting with the ARRL's new rules. I had a few people that saw that I was going to be on your show, and they're like, "You're going to know about the new rules." So I've gotten quite a few people that have sent me information about it. And one of the interesting things is they're going to leave it open for creativity.
Right.
Now, thinking about, I mean, with the micro hams, we had one guy that managed our points. So he made sure we got every possible point. And I think you've met Kenny before.
Mm-hmm.
So Kenny would go around, make sure that we got every point. So let's think, how do you have it in a public view to get those 100 points? Live stream it, put it on Twitch.
There you go.
How do you get a public official? Zoom them in.
Oh, yeah, duh. Okay. That's a good point.
How do you make your information available? Well, when you're live streaming, have a link with your club site.
Right.
So, I mean, those that go for it to chase points, those are all things to think about.
Right. Oh, that's a really good point. You know, my mom and I, we were talking last week, and she was looking through the checklist that she's made in the past for our field days, and she just posted here. I'm going to add it up here on the messages here, but we were talking about the fact that you know, a lot of times we use our, you know, we've got our different Heil headsets, and let me grab my Pro 7 right here. But one of the things you realize, it's fine to share your headsets, but you know, we all have the little covers on them. And you can easily, you know, you take, yep, you got yours there. You take off the cover, use some hand sanitizer, or, you know, alcohol wipe or something, wipe it down. And we're going to actually buy a bunch of extra covers so that each person who's operating can have their own personal cover. We'll keep our sanitizer close by and then change it out when you're going to be the operator. So it's another, you know, quick and easy way to be able to address sharing equipment. Same thing, you know, if you're using a boom mic, which we do, wipe it down that way too. So
yeah, I'm laughing because
why are you laughing?
In October, I went with a group down to ZF1A.
Oh yeah.
And we hot swapped headsets. I'll never do that again. I will make sure I bring my own headset next time, because I went to grab the microphone and position it, and the previous operator liked to chew on the mic per se.
Oh, right.
It was soaking wet.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say who it was, because he's a good friend and a lot of people know him, but it was so funny, and told him not again.
Yeah, no, but, and it's, you know, it's a good practice anyway, when you think about it, because I mean, usually, you know, when you're wearing your headset, you know, you've got it on and you are putting the microphone right on top of you. So, you know, you're obviously spitting into it and leaving your remnants there. So it's a good practice anyway, I think, and something we probably in the past haven't thought about, but you know, it's another good practice for when you're out for field day, if you are going to be sharing equipment with some of your fellow hams.
And one of the other things I saw somebody mention that came up there about a Bioenno. I mean,
oh yeah,
I've got solar panels from Bioenno.
Mm-hmm.
At least 2 batteries that I have for kits to go out with.
Right.
In fact, I've loved their product so much. My RV that I've got, I swapped out 4 deep cycle AGM batteries and put in for the Bioenno 100 amp hour batteries in it.
Oh, nice. Well, again, for those of you that may be tuning in after our start time, Kevin Zanjani from Bioenno Power was going to be a guest today, and we were going to kind of have this a bit of a 3-way conversation about what Ray's done with his RV, and of course what Bioenno Powders can do with you when you're out in the field. He was having some technical difficulties on his side in the office with the computer and logging in. So we're just going to bring him on to another show after we figure out why his computer doesn't like me. And
did you give him the right link?
I did, because he was already here. His camera wasn't working. So be nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Robin, of course, it would be great if people can bring their own headsets, assuming people have them. One of the things in the past, of course, with field days is having to get on the air station for new or newer hams or prospective hams. So obviously those folks aren't going to have headsets of their own to bring with you. So having
Yeah,
some backup.
that is the most fun about field day is people's first time to get on the air.
Yeah.
I mean, that can make or break somebody from wanting to get on the air ever again.
Yeah, I got to grab this picture here and share it again. I think here it is. Let me do a quick share screen. This was a few years ago on our field day. Let me just make sure the photo is going to pop up here. Here we go. There we go. These guys, and I used this one last week, but these two young men were part of the local young firemen's group. I know there's a specific term for the firemen in training, but there was a whole group. They had come and gotten licensed that day. I think one of the boys had his license already and upgraded, and the other one, it was the first time on the radio. So we sat them down at the GOTA station. There was Emmett, W0QH from Radio Waves, and WI7FD kind of hanging out and supervising on them. But I tell you what, it was so much fun. That was a great day. And to have these guys that were brand new hams, because of course, when you pass your test, that's when you're most excited. I mean,
Yep.
So the best thing you can do with somebody who just gets their license is plunk them down in front of a radio and have them start making some contacts. And to me, that was like one of the most fun days, along with another year when we had a group of 11 family members come and get tested. And we sat down, had each of the kids sit down and make a couple of contacts, and got into some sibling rivalry because one sibling wanted to stay on the air longer than the other. So they ended up kind of fighting over the radio time, which, I mean, could you ask for anything better than to have the kids fighting over airtime? I mean, that's the way to go. But it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm hoping that we can do that again in the future. We're having our setup, we're not planning on really promoting it to the public, like, hey, come on in and check it out. We're just gonna kind of do our thing here. Which reminded me, for anybody who is going to be having it somewhat open to public from where you're going to be operating, just a reminder that you can go ahead and put your location up on the ARRL Field Day Locator. So we've actually found that worked for us. We were on top of the mountain here where we live, way up on Warren Peak, and someone found us. They drove through all the dirt roads and everything else to come find us. And so you never know who might stop by your field day to come see you. So that's that. So, okay. So 7300 is an ideal radio to take with you for field day, and the 9700 as well. Those are the two that really sit together really nicely. They look like twins pretty much, right?
Well, and those two are perfect for another event in June as well, and that is the VHF contest.
Yes, I wanted you to bring that up. So tell me a little bit about why that is. What makes those two particularly paired up well?
Because they stack nicely above each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're exactly the same size. You use the 7300 for 6 meters.
Okay.
And then, of course, the 9700 is 2, 440, and 1.2.
Right.
And usually, if you want to call it a spotting station, and I just saw a message here from Fred, need to do field day railroad mobile again.
That's what he was talking. I'm like, what does that mean?
that was a fun event where we were in Rusk, Texas, and Fred posted the call sign. I can't remember it, but we were in Rusk, Texas, which had a railroad system at that point, and we actually were in a steam powered locomotive doing ham radio.
That's cool. So, I mean, were you on the move or just was it parked somewhere? Oh, you were cruising around. Oh man.
We had two different call signs. One was the station that was there by the train station, and then the other call sign was the one that was that was moving.
Oh, fun.
And I got that t-shirt stashed in my box of t-shirts. where from all these different events that I like to save. I mean, I did one in Minneapolis, or not Minneapolis, but Rochester, with a group that's with the Mayo Clinic with K0MD.
Oh, sure.
And
Scott.
we had a great time. We had our own contest. Everybody talks about Zero Land being the black hole of ham radio.
Right.
So we were a 3 alpha, 2 stations were CW, 1 station was phone, and he and I were the ones that were doing the phone. He and I together scored more points than the 2 CW stations.
Wow, you guys must have been rocking it.
It was great.
There's a question for you.
No, there is no problem with heat convection. Both radios have fans. And what I was talking about earlier, 6 meters is your spotting frequency.
Okay.
So when you're in a VHF contest, you work somebody on 6 meters, quickly ask, hey, do you have 2 meters? Yes, we do. Go work that cue real quick on 2, then 432, and then up to 1.2.
Right. Yeah, that happens a lot. People suggest you, hey, go work us on such and such a band as well. That's always kind of fun. Not like you have to worry about finding somebody like W3AO because they're everywhere. Okay, so here's one of my questions that is just the fun side of field day. We had this conversation last weekend. Middle of the night operations, things always seem to be a little bit looser on field day when it's the overnight shift. There's more snacking involved. It's, a little less pressure because now you've been operating for probably 12 hours and people will tend to, play around with their call sign phonetics. Have you ever done that before? Any of the events you've been at kind of tweak from the normal? Like I was using down in New Mexico, the club down there goes to now 5 many pregnant zebras. So, which
this is a family friendly show. We will not talk about funny phonetics because of the J and the A on mine.
Oh, I didn't even think of that one, so we'll leave that alone.
Really, you didn't think of that one, and you've actually used that one before.
I have not. Don't say that. Terrible. So I meant for like one of your clubs. I mean, obviously W3AO isn't going to tweak theirs because everybody knows American Ocean. You can't miss that one, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to see.
Well, for N7OS, November 7 operating system.
Right. Look who's here. Hey, Charlie. Oh, yeah. Operating system is true. 40 CW is the most fun overnight.
Yeah. And some of the more competitive field days that I've been on, they keep their stations active the whole time.
Right.
So if it's a small 1 alpha, 2 alpha, or 1 delta, 2 delta, you're going to hop around the bands. But when we did the 4 alpha, the 25 alpha, we kept 20 meters going the whole time.
Right. Well, and that makes sense. Absolutely. Because, with a setup like that, you can't be mixing things up. That just is asking for trouble. But yeah, with smaller groups like what we do, it's, of course we're already, Wyoming 7 field day, but we're also Flamingo Desperados, but that kind of messes with people too if we try that one. But it's a lot of fun. I like Leon's nasty, crummy kid.
Yeah, there are some pretty funny ones out there that help break through the pileup. Yeah. One of them that I heard at one of the clubs that I went to is for the letter K. Most people go kilowatt.
Right.
It's easy to get that mistaken for kilo whiskey, KW. Right. So was that a KW4 or was that a K4?
Right.
So you do have to be careful. What is it?
You use kangaroo.
Yeah,
that would work.
I know Zanzibar. I love Zanzibar. When I hear that one, I'm going, yeah, that's somebody that's at least 90.
Right. Oh, I don't know. I've heard that one a lot. We use a lot of times we'll use Yokohama for the Y and Yankee when we'll do Washington, Yokohama sometimes or in France, Denmark, just because sometimes, if the noise level's bad or you've got too much QRM or you just got a huge pile up, sometimes mixing it up will help other people hear you a little bit better.
Oh yeah, in DX contest, I go November 9, Japan, America.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or unless you're Kilo 7 Japan America, then you might be Kilo 7 Jerusalem Artichoke. Chips use that one on us sometimes on the radio. That always cracks me up when I hear Jerusalem Artichoke coming through the crowd. Well, it's a lot of fun. Well, Ray, I'm really glad you could join us this week for Shack Chat and talk about some of your favorite field days of the past and how ICOM can make your field day even more fun with the different radios such as the 7300, 9700, or we even haul our 7600 out into the field, and I always get nervous when we do that, but but you got to bring your radios out there. I know. I hope we got Spain popping in here at the field day. Says he does Zanzibar, Mexico, England. Okay, well, see, that works. And Robin's not 100 years old. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody, we'll start wrapping today up. I really appreciate Ray Novak, N9JA from Icom America, joining us today here for the ham radio outlet Shack Chat. It's been a lot of fun and hearing about some of your favorite field days of the past, and we'll look forward to finding out where you end up this year for field day, and make sure we can get you in the log one way or the other. All right. And let's hope so. Well, I just want to remind again, if you're watching here on Facebook, please do join our Shack Chat group and share some photos from your favorite field days. And we might feature you next week on the next Shack Chat shout out. If you're on YouTube, please do give us a like and click that subscribe button. We're adding more content almost weekly, getting some more fun and interesting things out there to help you stay radioactive. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm Katie, WY7YL, for Ham Radio Outlet, saying 73, everybody, and stay radioactive. Bye-bye.
73.